Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I just want to see if this actually works or not. The background should be slightly blurred, but this thing's moving on quite a bit. I'm still choosing whether or not I want to keep this camera or not. The frame rate seems kind of low. Let me lower it down to 25 seconds. 25-second frame rates. Still looks kind of like shit. Let me try 24. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. 24 frames seems okay. No, it's kind of slow, but I might refund this camera. It's not that impressive. It should be sharper, but I can use 4K. Let's try 4K, but I'll lose the blurry background effect. This is pretty slow overall. So, all right, let's try 4K right now. Actually, 4K is a lot more smooth for some reason. Right? Without all these effects and stuff, 4K looks pretty good. But when I start adding all the other effects, it kind of looks like shit. How do I get the camera to stop fucking moving all the time? Let's see here. Camera is always moving. Can I actually get it to stop moving? You can see too much of the background. That's not good. So what does this one do? This one's close. Yeah, I'm just testing the camera. Merry Christmas. All right, so it zooms in. I'm not sure if I'm clearer or not, so hopefully I'm clear. Half body, head. Okay, I'll choose head. Effects. Oh, yeah. I just want to keep it, closer instead of showing the red thing. I might have to remove the backgrounds. This is the biggest one I can find right now. Let's see, autofocus, exposure, white balance. Okay. This is 4K right now, so let's see it. So everything seems to sync up in 4K, but when I start adding some extra stuff to it, it doesn't work that well. So should I keep this camera? I'm not sure. Let's just change the background and see what happens. All right. Maybe that could work. All right. The voice syncs up. That's good. I wonder if I can add my own images. I've never tried. Whoa. Fuck. This one looks nice. Thanks. I didn't build it myself, but so let's see. Does my lips match what I'm saying? It looks like a little bit slower than before. So at least I have a background this time. I should have took a shower. I'm a little bit shiny. Don't mind the K-pop hairstyle. It should be coming on this microphone. All right, you can hear it tapping. Okay, so let's just say I figure out a different background in the future. Got a fucking Gen Z hair. All right. Hopefully I do look sharper. I don't know. And what resolution am I at? 4K. This is 4K. So do I look sharper than before right now? This is at 4K settings. This is rendering at 4K. Can you physically see more details? Like on the hair, on the eyes, everything like that? A mustache? Compared to my other webcam, right? My other webcam was something like this, right? But this is a Logitech cam. It didn't look super clear before. It was kind of annoyingly blurry. Hopefully this one is sharper, but I'm not sure if I want to keep it or not. That's the thing. I don't pay too much attention to details in the face. No, that makes a lot of sense. But I wanted something that looks like a DSLR camera. They told me that if I get like this item over here, right, that this is the best webcam you can get for the money, and you can't really see it, but yeah, hopefully press this twice, see what happens if it zooms in. Oh, it does zoom in. So you can't really see it. What the fuck? Oh, that's cool. So if this is closer, then I can speak like the old webcam, see a little bit more details. But that's kind of close. That's like really, really close. I don't know. I don't like it that close. Right? That's kind of weird looking. Feels like I'm floating or something. Let me double tap this. 1, 2. Ah, this seems kind of nicer. It gives me a little bit more of a distance. I could do my Fox News segment over here. Like, hey, welcome to John Elite News, right? Blah, blah, blah. So the lighting looks more natural now. Okay. That's good. Let's try other settings and see. So you can change the skin tone settings. Well, I cannot do it right now. I got to switch back to 10. Okay. If it looks clear right now, right? That's good. In good lighting. I have a lamp here. But I want to see what will happen if I turn it back to 1080p and I change the skin tone. Okay. I'm going to switch it right now. Hey, at least it kind of renders okay. You know, this might make some good videos. All right. 1080p, 30 frames per second. Where the fuck is the 60 frames? Come on now. Okay. So I'm back to 1080p. Do I look... I think I look a little bit blurrier than before. I think the 4K looks a lot sharper, to be honest. I like the 4K better. But the 1080p, right? It still looks kind of natural. Feels like I'm in the same room, right? Talking to you, and that's more immersive. But I can't really see that clearly. Let's see the glasses. Okay, don't mind the glasses. I can't see shit without it. Okay. Well, it's kind of sharp. That's decently sharp. I can see details. Okay. It looks clear now, right? So this is 1080p. Does it look as clear? I'm going to switch back to... I do like the 4K better, right? So let me switch back to the 4K. All right. So 4K 30 frames per second. Let's see what it looks like now. This is 4K again. This one looks a lot clearer, right? This one seems like I'm in the same room as you, like talking to you. So from now on, I may use this one. And yeah, because the reason why I bought this camera is over here. Maybe I should keep it, right? It's not bad. I mean, for 4K, it doesn't look bad. 4K looks very clear. Let me just turn off the background, but maybe I should keep it, even if it doesn't have like the effects, right? Maybe I can blur the background just a tiny bit. It might create a similar DSLR effect. Yeah, I mean, I can't use natural bokeh, but I can still create like a bit of a blur in the background, but I don't like the background. I feel like it should be replaced, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to create. Maybe for advice videos, right? Don't mind the glasses. I can't see shit without it. Maybe for the advice videos, I should try to make it like clear. Right now, what resolution is this? This is 4K. Okay? This is 4K with the background blur. I cannot blur the background just a little bit like I wanted to. Let me show you what will happen with 1080p. Right? 1080p. So there's a setting here called natural bokeh. It'll make the background blurry. Let's try it right now. Let's see it. So the background should seem blurry. It should give you that sort of DSLR look, but it's not very clear, right? I know the 4K is better. Let's see if I can sharpen this. Voice focus. Okay, this is what I bought it for. So if I can make a advice video and it has natural bokeh and the background, like I'm sharp here, like a DSLR, right? And the background's blurry, I think that's cool. That's why I want it, right? That was originally my intent, but it doesn't look that clear. I mean, like the skin tone and everything is fine, but it's not super sharp. Let's see if I can sharpen up my face a little bit to the maximum. Here's the sharpest. Maybe that's overly too sharp. Let's try it. Yeah, this is like sharpening the setting. Hopefully I can get something close. Where's my glasses? Shit, I can't see without it. All right, let's take a look. Hey, that's not bad. Even at 1080p, but you can't really tell the difference between the background, like over here, if it's a like has a bokeh, whatever, and you just added a little bit of blur to it. It still looks kind of 4K if I sharpen it, right? But what would it look like if I blur it a little bit to see if it still looks kind of like a DSLR? Sometimes people like a more of a like this kind of thing, right? Like a lighter sort of blurrier. I don't know. I'll put a little bit in between, right in the middle. Something like this, you know? It kind of looks a little bit like a... Let me zoom in a little bit. This one. There. Yeah, maybe this one a little bit. Like you can see more of the details. Not so much the details or sharpness, but more of the overall like structure. Yeah, fucking shiny today. Yeah, I don't have time to take a shower for doing this. But if it's going up a lot, then it's sort right here. Yeah, it's a lot of shininess in the nose. Okay, this is the sharpest or near the sharpest. This actually looks pretty decent, right? But the background, like, it's not like a big deal. Let's just turn up to 4K then. How about we turn off these settings over here? Let me try some other things first. Okay, so it's called makeup. So it's called blush. It's called fresh. I'll turn it down a little bit so I don't look like a woman. Which one would look the best for future cameras? This is rose. This is coral. It kind of cleans up your skin a little bit, but looks kind of fake. Berry. No. Peach. Oh, this one's not bad. Peach is not bad. So let me switch it back to 4K. All right, here it is. We'll just ignore the background. Back to 4K. I cannot put any of those filters on my face. And yeah, the 4K looks really good, actually. I think 4K looks the best. I don't know about you, but I think 4K looks way better than all the other ones. Let's see how much you can zoom in into it. See the teeth. How clear is it? I can see even the nose hairs. Okay, I'm gonna zoom it backwards. So I can use the mouse to zoom it. Right? Yeah, 4K looks way better. You know, even if I kept the camera at 4K, right? I mean, if 4K looks better than my other webcam, right? Then might as well fucking keep it. Then even if I cannot use the other things, I'm using a little bit of blur. How's this? It actually looks kind of similar right now. I just turn on the blur. I'm not animating as well. I can use the blur and just a little bit. Look at this. You see the background? I can make it blurrier or I can make it a little bit less. What's the difference between a tiny bit of blur like this, looking like a DSLR, right? My mouth does not sync up as well, but it kind of looks like a natural bokeh of a DSLR in real time, which is really cool, right? People pay for like one of those Sony webcams or whatever, those expensive webcams like Canon, because they want a little bit of blur in the background. But if this kind of looks similar to the other one, it looks like a DSLR in real time. It's just my mouth does not move at the same time. That's the problem. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Slight delay in my speech. Slight delay in my speech, but whatever. So even if I have a slight delay in my speech, I don't think most people actually care. They want to see the content. All right. So this one, Different filters. This one's kind of reddish looking. I don't like it. Now this is too dark. So that's daylight vintage, vintage 2. This one I hate. I hate it. It looks like my old webcam without the lighting. This one's too dark. This is called clear. Doesn't look clear to me. Makes me look like a Vietnamese. I think this one has the best lighting. Okay, let me turn off the bokeh effect. Or the okay, now the entire effect is gone for the the blur. And my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still a little bit of delay, but just a tiny bit of a delay. So I think if I were filming a Vice video, I would probably turn on just a tiny bit of blur, kind of like this. So testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm making in the Vice video, and let me add a little more blur. Okay. Hello, this is John Elite News, and today we're gonna talk about how a bunch of people are zombie sheeps who worships other dating coaches who basically have 0 laid testimonials, and they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit delayed if I made a video like this. You can see some good details on my hair. Let's see if I can get it sharper. That'd be great. So, yeah, that's already at the sharpest. Maybe it's just because I need the glasses. I can't see it, how sharp it is. Okay. I still like the 4K. The 4K looks the best, to be honest. Let's just see if we can do 4K and we can change the background. Let me change your hairstyle, right? Am I going? It should be the other way. I'm not sure. Hey, testing, 1, 2, 3. Just trying different hairstyle. Testing. So, I saw your comment tab post. Tell me about it. Random question: should people choose between Kaizen or Elite 60? That's actually a good question because they're very different. Kaizen just went up in price to $2,600. That's where I feel comfortable. Kaizen is only 30 days or 37 days, 7 days for social skills flow drill, and 30 days in a row. It's too hardcore for most people right now during the inflation. Most people will fucking lose their mind during the inflation. So I do not recommend people take Kaizen because for Elite 60, it's a little bit more relaxed. It's stretched out to 4 months stretched out. But people that take it too relaxed is not a good thing. So we need a perfect balance between the two. You need to aggressively do Elite 60, kind of like you're going to do Kaizen. You don't want to delay too much because it takes 21 days to develop a habit. So I recommend these days, because it's cheaper than $2,600, Elite 60 is only $2,000 for 4 months. It's hardcore, but not super hardcore. It's not like Navy SEALs. It's more like reserve forces of the Army. Hope that makes sense. So if you're going to choose one, I would probably say Elite 60 right now is more suitable because the inflation is affecting a lot of people's mindsets right now. They cannot focus. So even if they wanted to do Kaizen, right? Kaizen has a 100% success rate. But Kaizen is only for those who take 3 months of proficiency these days. Otherwise, you cannot access Kaizen unless you're part of the 3MP program. But 3MP is kind of expensive during this inflation. So therefore, it's cheaper than bootcamp. But yeah, I would say Elite 60, but it really depends on your situation. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, that's a good question to ask. So yeah, don't mind the hair. I don't know why it's curly. I never had curly hair in my life. It's always been quite straight. Now it's just curling like Donald Trump ever since he got back in office. it just trumps itself, So let's see other settings. 4K. What else can I do? Zoom, voice suppression. I'm not sure if this changes anything. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I click voice suppression, but it's probably coming from the microphone. It's not coming from this thing. Horizontal flip. Now, this does not look good. It seems like one of my eyes are not perfectly symmetrical. Oh well, this one looks a little bit better here. Portrait resolution and high frame rate. I have no idea what the fuck this means. Oh shit, I'm losing my feed. Okay. I have no idea. I just clicked something right now. No, I'm back. So yeah, I look for it when you fill out the form. So this one says portrait resolution and high frame rates. Okay. And the other one says enable low. Maybe this one increases the frame rates. Let's see here. Let's switch back to 1080p. If there's 60 frames per second here. Nope. Nope. Let's see. I can switch over to. No, that's wrong. Okay. That's for TikTok or some shit. See, 720p. No, there's actually no 1080, like there's no 60 frames per second for some reason. I update the firmware. So this is 1080p. Okay. 1080p again. Doesn't look super clear to me. It really doesn't. No, this doesn't look super clear. Let me zoom backwards a little bit. It's okay. I mean, it's better than my old webcam. I think it looks better. Okay, back to the K-pop look. The Gen Z. I don't know. Most people, I don't recommend this haircut, but it kind of works for me. But I wouldn't use it out there in Daygame. I just use it for the camera to relate to people. So, oh, it's all fucked up now. Okay, let's check other more. So, how do you stay motivated to make videos and message? I can tell that you don't do a subscriber count and the views. Well, first of all, obviously, I have the most students late in the world, right? So we know that. The reality is that I've been asked this question before. And the main reason why I'm motivated is because think about it this way. If we don't have John Elite over here, right? The world's best Daygame coach. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I am the best of the best. And you're like, oh, there's other coaches that can be better coach. There's not a single coach that even compares. That's a fact. How many late testimonials do they have this year? 0. Last year, 0. Just posting 2019 shit. Or they only have 1 for ABCs in a Latin country. So they don't know what they're talking about. I believe that if I'm not here right now, we're all screwed for Asians. Because there's no other Daygame coach that actually can get Daygame late testimonials. I always thought like I was like Moses, right? That's a great question. I always felt like I'm like Moses. I'm trying to lead my people away from global game platform scammer networks of popular coaches. I have more late testimonials than every single one of those coaches combined, whether night game or day game. But at the same time, they're brainwashed by those people over there. That's why I do what I do, because I'm trying to help the Asians. Back then, when I started game, when I started, how old do you think I am? That's a good question. Write down in the comments. How old do you think I am? Just by looking at me physically. No. I could be much older. So I hope I don't look that old. Other people might think I'm younger. Maybe the camera makes me look a little bit older. But that's right. I started in 2001. So because you knew that, but what if you didn't know I was like starting in 2001, right? How old do I look like? I'm just saying, hypothetically, I could be way older than 39 just by looking at me without knowing all these details. Okay. So everyone sees a different age. Okay. I thought I looked a lot younger, but maybe the camera makes me look older. But let's just say hypothetically, that's what you think, right? So, yeah, I did start 2001. It was quite tough. Let's just say that there was nothing like I could use for help except the lay guide. It did not work. I became obsessed. So for me, I didn't want any of the Asians to experience what I experienced. I was trying to help the Asians get out of Egypt, all these miracles that happen, and lead them to the promised land for the Asian men. But unfortunately, we have these global game networks who are gaslighting Asians with other Asians who are part of the evil people, enslaving them because they make more money in the boot camps. That's what I feel. I feel like they're being enslaved. And if I didn't exist, how the fuck are Asians supposed to even get laid from Daygame? Other coaches may have one or two students, token Asians. Where's all the rest? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Where's the fucking rest? Because they're autistic Asperger's, and they're like, oh yeah, no, they're not Asperger's. They're logical, and they have social skills. Does that make sense? They don't understand that stuff. It's all about game tactics. Asians are screwed without me. Out of 8.6 billion or whatever people on Earth, who can do what I do for student results? Nobody. And I'm not exaggerating. If you disagree with me, there's no other coach that actually has laid testimonials. This year has been the hardest year of all time, guys. I'm not even joking. 2024, because the inflation was up and the high interest rates, now it's going back down for interest rates. They're cutting it. This year, by far, is even harder than 2023. Even white guys are coming to me, good-looking white guys who are Chad-looking with square jawlines. They're coming to me for help. They look like dating coaches. Now they're coming to me for training. It's ridiculous. So I feel like we said not to choose a coach based on race, but based on the results. That's right. I like that you called out Mike Queefing canceled Casanova. I made 2 months. I even made more on ABCs of low self-esteem. I called them out because they're always stuck in this mentality that it's all about engineering mindset. Like night game is 15 out of 35. Day game is 20 out of 35. You need social skills, social calibrations, emotional control in game, right? All four. That's 2.5 points each. You need 20 out of 35. But for them, night game does not require social skills. Because how can you socialize with the loud music in the background for a nightclub? You can't socialize. Let me turn up the resolution. I feel like this is 4K, 30 frames per second. All right. Brighter contrast. I hope that makes sense. Because it's 15 out of 35, you're always going to get stuck. And day game is 20 out of 35. What I mean by that is it requires all these skills. You can't talk in a loud nightclub. You can't have emotional control and be chilled because the music is super loud and then people are drunk. So therefore, they're not really playing any sort of social skills or emotional control. They're using a little bit of body language and touching, and they're also using game tactics. It's a more Asperger's. It's like playing a chess game all the time, and then you're trying to play paintball, right? Which is day game. One of the games is more linear and stuck. They can never get out of that mentality of the nightclub mentality. That's why they don't have day game lay testimonials. Asians in general, for dating coaches, others are very autistic or Asperger's. They're almost all Asperger's syndrome engineers, former biotech engineers. And then when it comes to day game, it doesn't make any sense to them. They just go in there with the energy of night game, mass approaching, and using DHV stories and tactics and direct compliments and validation They don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to them. This is a whole different science. They're looking at it from an artistic point of view. So, yes, the arrow theory or arrow science. How that good-looking Korean Chad, right? It's hard to relate to them. Exactly. That guy told my student that they should not do Daygame. The recent student that got laid in the United States that's Asian. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about a different one. He told that student, why are you doing Daygame? You're the only one of all the Asians. He's a former ABC's boot camp student. They're saying like every single other Asian already quit Daygame and they're using Tinder and Instagram game. Why are you using Daygame? Daygame does not work anymore. That's what the Chad coach told my student. Insider info. The Chad, Asian Chad, says Daygame does not work. That means he can't make it work, despite his looks. Isn't that weird? Only I can make it work for the student results in the whole world. Other coaches are posting stuff, even from USA, that is from 2019 or 2021 or some shit. Who gives a fuck? That's a pandemic. Pandemic, yeah. People can still get Asians laid, but the inflation of 2023 and 2024, no, they can't. ABC's only got one person laid, and in the Latin country, in Peru or Mexico, that's it. So I have to exist because I almost died of COVID recently. If I have died of COVID, guess what? What will happen with the Asians? They're all screwed. If I'm gone, right? And I have all these late testimonials, who's gonna get the Asian people laid? If more people actually train under me, then guess what? We can solve this for all the other Asians in the entire world. We don't need a second dating coach who's Asian or any other ethnicity. And just because they're Asian does not mean they're John Elite. It doesn't mean they can actually get people laid because, oh, look, I did some gesture thing. I'm not sure what happened, but some kind of gesture thing happened with the AI. Okay. that was weird. That was weird. Let me see what happens. Does that work? Does a gesture? No, I still haven't figured it out yet. So, but yeah, if I didn't exist, who's going to teach the Asians? Moses need to get the Asians across the finish line, and these pharaohs or these global game networks are like fucking Egypt. I say, let my people go. That's why I have all this motivation still, because I like what I do. Because it's just like Elon Musk, right? You say to him, Elon, why do you want to go to Mars? Why do you want to save the human race? Because he's the only one who can do it. Just like me, I'm the only one who can do this for teaching people Daygame and getting them laid in the United States. It doesn't have to be a fucking passport, bro. I'm the only one. So if that's the case, I have to exist, even though I nearly died of COVID. I was not going to survive very long. I was denied healthcare. Hospitals will not take me because I don't have any health insurance. The government canceled it because I was making too much money at that time to have health insurance. They took away my free healthcare. Fuck them. Yeah, I will not leave. That's right. So I think that's what happened. It got close. I think there's a setting that you can use with hand gestures, right? Or something like that. And then you can like get closer and further away. It has this sort of thing that can pick up, but I don't know what the hand gestures are. But yes, I feel like this is a fact. ABCs have no clue. They're giving you half a pizza. They only have a night game solution in Latin countries. Swiping on Tinder. You guys could get the same results on Tinder. Hope that makes sense. Right? And I'm very glad that you're here because this video, I'm going to look at it later on, but I'm going to put it back to private soon. It's a good time to ask me any questions that you have. There's not a lot of people here today. Let me change the background back and see what happens. So we're going to go back to effects. And, oh shit, there's a little bit of blur on it, but I'm not blurry. Shit. If that's the case, right? And I turn on this setting for high frame rates, and I look normal. I put a little bit of blur in the background right here. Then I should keep this camera. Even though I cannot use the bokeh effect, right? the natural bokeh, which looks like a DSLR. This kind of looks like a DSLR, so might as well keep it, right? And 4K is pretty clear. I can still show up like this. You sound like mean or harsh sometimes, but you genuinely sound like you want to help our kind. I'm very like drill sergeant, like, you know, like Sun Tzu. I don't mess around. The whole students, all the students late and stuff. I was trying to make a video of the Italian student ate lays. I didn't post it today, but yeah, I treat everything like the army because I was trained by the Jewish people in martial arts. So they have a martial art called Krav Maga for the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. Before you're shipped out there, you have to learn how to do some hand-to-hand fighting. Apparently, I learned the same stuff. So I have a video on YouTube. Let's see. Krav Maga John Elite. So I basically took what the Jewish army did to teach people, and I transferred it over to Daygame. Hopefully my video shows up here. If it doesn't, then whatever. But yeah, I have a video of me disarming weapons and guns and all that stuff. Believe it or not. So let's see if I can find it in the... 1 second. I don't want to go to the United States at this point in time. Just my Pakistani mentor asking me if I want to go to New York. Do you mean New York or do you mean New Year's Eve? Like before? So, never mind. That's just my Pakistani mentor. He's just asking if I want to, you know, meet his new wings, the new naturals. So these people mentor me. Maybe I should go. So if that's the case, then yeah. So I might go there. I always get new stuff that nobody knows. So every time I go there, it quantum leaps the late testimonials because these are players and stuff in Vancouver. It's good, the background. Some migrants just put women on fire in the train. Yeah, that's called the Latino fuck behavior. Because Latinos, they always have the same mindset. I like the background. You know, it's not bokeh, but it does this look like a DSLR? A little bit blurry and a little bit sharp here. It kind of looks like a DSLR. Let's keep this camera. Let's keep this fucking camera. It's perfect. So yeah, migrant light somebody on fire. So I'll show him my other student the Latino fuck behavior. Okay. And yeah, I was showing an Indian guy a Latino fuck behavior. And he was laughing. But I basically have a chart over here. And let's give it a test. Yeah, I still cannot see it. Kind of blurry. Shit. Let's see the phone. So it's not too good at zooming in, it seems. But this chart says Latino fuck behavior. So for this chart, it says, number 1, in the past, Latinos have a 7 out of 10 perceived natural status. After the border crisis, you mean the binflation, right? After the binflation, it's down to 6 out of 10. And it lowers their SMV due to current events. In the past, they could SMV it with ease since they get multiple girlfriends, or that's true. Latinos used to be able to get multiple girlfriends. Hey, I'm lagging a little bit right now. I'm not sure why. Let me just look at let me just see this one. I think it's okay. I'm just lagging in the software. But it says, number 1, no instincts for grit. One track mind. Doesn't listen to John Elite. Does it their way. Everything is one step flirts, one step game techniques, not 2 steps or 3. Then throw shit against the wall, see what sticks. SMVing it. Talk super fast. with women, cortisol. Number 2, the wrong path, the sociopath. In 4 months, it fails so bad. So basically, it's always one track mind for Latinos. They only have one way to do something. Okay, good. The leg is just in the computer by zooming in. I'm going to keep this camera. I mean, I'm very glad that you're here because now when I talk to you, right, this camera doesn't look bad. Might as well keep it. Number 2, the wrong path, the sociopath. In 4 months, it feels so bad. Complete destruction, one track mind. Only one way to do something until it fails over and over. Stubborn. Well, kind of like lighting someone on fire. Number 3, an autistic meltdown. After the failure, if the lower SMV, tears and everything. They always have a meltdown. Latinos will lose their fucking mind and cry. Okay. Number 4, they get depressed, quit for a while. If they don't quit, number 5, they repeat the process, they resurrect, and they just do the same one-track mind Latino fuck behavior again. So? Oh, yeah. The Chinese person is the one who's same day late in Berlin. He's a 5'8" Chinese guy. So I do have his testimonial, but I have to censor his voice because, you know, he might be a public figure. But that one I can post eventually. I think I should put the placeholders on YouTube for that one. But eventually I will, you know, play it sometime next year. Maybe around like April or something. So. Okay. Where are you thinking about going? Are we talking about night game or are we talking about day game? I've just talked to my Pakistani mentor, so don't mind me. Usually, like in the past, like even like 10 years ago or something like that, long time ago, around 8 years, something like that, we used to go to the, you know, the big dome thing, the expo thing, right? And we used to night game. I know that people say, oh, John doesn't night game or whatever, but that's where we went to. And also, we had another wing who was super good looking. He's like 9 out of 10 in looks. He looked like a runway model, but he was just half an inch too short to be one. So I got taught all the secrets on how to do night game, day game, on all sorts of online like Instagram game by him, everything. And this is like before they even have the Instagram. How to use clout, how to use locations and stuff like that. So thank you for making me show some love for Indian brothers. Yeah. Are you Indian or are you Asian? Because at first I thought you were Asian. But I hope you really do like the last video because somebody had to talk about the Indian stuff, especially about the ADHD and the Asperger syndrome, right? Nobody talked about that. So I was born and grew up in Hong Kong until 18, but you're Indian. So if that's the case, right? Lots of Indians are born in Singapore, sometimes Malaysia, other countries, right? Outside of Asia. And a lot of them are even born in Surrey, Canada, or Brampton, Ontario, or Toronto. Oh, okay, good. So Chinese, yes, makes sense. Your name's Chinese. I live in Seattle, but I have a lot of Indian coworkers, right? I bet your job, right? Like most of my students, even my recent student who is joint Elite 60, you're probably engineer. Most of my students are engineers, actually, or logical. The ones who are very good. Because the logical people, they just need to translate their logic into emotions and the arrow science. And then they can conquer Daygame. Because they don't feel that much like in the way of emotions. They may get triggered, they may have cortisol, but because they're so stoic, right? They're mentally tougher. They can take more of a punch. And besides, engineers in general, at least I think you're an engineer. engineers in general, they're not like in survival mode like the other students. The ones who are in survival mode who can barely afford Elite 30, they're not good students. This is why I want more of the Elite 60, Elite Bundle 2, and stuff like that. I want those kind of students. I don't want like level 1 where they can barely afford Elite Play, like Elite Daygame first steps or Elite 30. I want people that can afford something a little bit better. So, like, not sure. Okay. Hmm. All right. When you give me more details about where we'll be gaming, then I'll strongly consider it. Right. So, tell me more about this wing. Is he a natural like the others? Is he is he a natural? Is he a natural? Is he a natural? Yeah. Okay. Most of his wings, right? My Pakistani mentor, all his wings are super good looking white guys, except for one of them. But there are some ugly Asians and stuff, but they're mostly like they always like model looking white guys or Latinos or whatever. Most of them are like millionaires and stuff, multi-millionaires. They own mansions and stuff like that. It's crazy. So you learn quite a lot. The reason why I can dominate the whole day game industry is because their stuff that they're teaching me, same stuff I'm teaching you. So nobody understands it. They just look at me like I'm crazy. Some of them does the arrow science for some of the naturals, objections, looping, stuff like that. Others have perfect body language, good social skills, like my Pakistani mentor. My Pakistani mentor has a whitewash tonality, so I think that's where I got it from when I teach it to my students to fit in. Because you can have darker skin and white girls can still like you if you sound not just like moving the tonality, but learning how to sound like a white guy. So, well, you probably want to go to Poland, right? Just go to Poland. That's probably the better place in Europe. I think that's probably the best place to go to. Berlin is an easy place. It's the easiest place on earth. But for Poland, okay, for Poland, it's really a good place. The women are hot. They're young. They usually like, they're not like as pretty as Ukrainians or Russians, but they're still up there. They're in the top 3. So no. My Pakistani mentor actually contacted me because I was criticizing ABCs, how they say like, oh, you need a lot of lifestyle or something like that. And I was just criticizing lifestyle game or any sort of lifestyle status. And my Pakistani mentor told me that I was so wrong about this, right? And he'll show me the true nature of game. So I remember, I'm not sure if he's watching this right now. If you are, hey, what's up? Yeah, I lost a little bit of body fat. I just drank Soylent more and ate less. So, but I'm still like, not perfect, but better than before. Took a month if he's watching this. But I remember the first time I met him. He was like this Pakistani guy, but he's like Indian looking guy. And he's stocky and stuff. He's like 5'10" and a half. And he's telling me about all these conquests that he had. And he's telling me stuff like, hey, John, like, well, I was calling me Gary before. That was my name. Now I go by John. He was telling me about the jawline. The more you have sex, the more the jawline becomes square. It is like an evolutionary advantage. You'll excrete like a different hormone or a scent. You know, how people use like scent and stuff is very important for a game. They all use the same cologne, but he talked about the scent. Women can feel it. He talks about like he sound kind of whitewashed. He didn't sound exactly like your typical like, oh, he's gonna be a stoic monotone PUA. At first, it was unbelievable. Like, is this guy for real? Until I saw it myself. He literally pulled like 15 in a row, like 9 out of 10s. Now he's getting 10 out of 10s. He's 3 girlfriends, now he's 2, but really amazing. So he taught me quite a lot. And it wasn't more like coaching. I wish it was. It doesn't automatically means he's natural. He claims not natural, but come on now. He's a latent natural. He just learned it later on. He doesn't know it yet. He's a complete latent natural. Some people, they find out like after college or university that they're really good with women and they have great social skills, good body language, but they'll claim that they did everything themselves. Some people have talent. He doesn't believe it, but I believe it. He's a natural, I can tell. He's exactly like all the other naturals. So no matter what system he uses, it always works because social skills is like, it's not just 2.5 for him. His social skills are so good, it's almost like beyond 2.5. It's almost like 6. His social calibrations is good. Emotional control, because he can sound like a white guy when he talks, kind of like this, right? You know how white people, they kind of talk like this and stuff. And it's really amazing because all white people talk like that. They're very expressive. He talks exactly like that. So this debunks like UFO or UMP, other stupid companies when they say, "Oh, you got to be stoic and stuff like that." But how does that help Todd V, for example, who has like 3 Daygame late testimonials in total? Doesn't work. Everyone's trying to be James Bond. So it doesn't matter because his other scores are so high, he doesn't need as much game. No matter what game he uses, it always works because the other 3. But he'll deny it. But they're on autopilot. They're all completely on autopilot. They don't know it. This is why the stuff they teach may not always be transferable because not everyone has the same social skills. But I try to drill it down for the students. The same social skill flow drill, the whitewash tonality and the body language. This is how it gets so many students late. Is the only thing that works. Is what the naturals uses. So healthcare, most of the cost of living. I don't know. I just haven't made the move yet. I was thinking about moving over there to a different country and buy a house. I was looking at a specific house. And we were about to go, me and my Pakistani mentor, we were about to go house, like, whatever. But I got a little bit chubby, so I didn't go. And now I lost all the weight. Not all of it, but I still have some of it. But it took a month to get rid of that. So, and also raining. I don't want to go house hunting at this time. So, but yeah, I was thinking about moving somewhere else, but I think eventually at some point in the future, I may move. Canada is really a horrible place right now. It is completely woke. It is liberal. It is anti everyone. It's full of immigrants. Like literally, there's more Indians here now in Toronto than even like Brampton. It's not just Brampton. They flooded Toronto. They're colonizing Toronto because there's an open door policy for immigration. So, no, I'm in Vancouver. But I'm just talking about Toronto. We have plenty of Indians over here. They just all live in the Surrey for some reason. Like most of them. Surrey's where all the crimes are. This is where all the Indians are. This is the place that people don't go to in the SkyTrain. When you go over there, we stop it. We switch the SkyTrain. We don't want to get anywhere near Surrey by accident. But the brown people, no offense, but the brown people will sit there and they'll go right into Surrey. And yeah, and I used to Daygame in Surrey because one of my students, a Chinese guy, lived there. He taught me a lot of the natural path kind of stuff and supplementation. So I teach that to my students. So we'll Daygame in the UBC and Surrey Central, but not anymore. So yes. Let's see. Okay. Any final questions? I was just testing the camera. Let me see if there's more settings that I can test. Okay. So I think this camera should be kept because the fact that it even works with a slight blurred background, right? The fact that it even works at all. And it doesn't have the natural bokeh, but it looks like something decent. Right? It's not that bad. That's the truth. Okay. This one looks a little blurry or a little bit choppy. What the fuck? I put a background here. Wait, is it getting better? I'm not sure. Let me try a different background. It looks a little bit choppy now. Shit. Let me just turn it off. Okay. Everything's back to normal. So let me try a different background. Okay, so I think for the background, 4K is not that good. Let's try it with a 1080p. Is it clear? It's still a little bit choppy with the background, but it's a little bit better. How about I turn off another setting under more? Portrait resolution and high, whatever. Let me just turn this off. Okay. Shit. I'm like paused, right? Come on now. Am I working right now? Okay, it's back again. So I was just switching. Okay, so it still looks choppy without the. Wait. It's getting better now. So in this setting, I can actually move around more. So I think overall, it's kind of weird. For 1080p, if I turn off the extra frame rates or whatever, it works better. Now let's just switch over to a higher resolution. Let's see if we can still do the same thing. 4K, let's switch. Okay, it's still very, very blurry with the background. At least that's what I see here. It looks very blurry. So in case I need a background, hopefully if I make a Vice video and I have a background like this, it still flickers a little bit. Not good. I think that I have to keep my head still and make a video like this, not moving very often in order to make this work. Still very choppy. Not good. Absolutely not good. Let's try a different background. Let's try one more. 1080p. Okay, here's 1080p. Now let's try the bokeh effect. Oh wait, I'll lose the background. I cannot blur the background and do the same thing. Okay, now it's very choppy. I'm gonna pause a little bit again. Okay, I'm gonna switch it back to the other one. Yeah, maybe I'll use that one more often. That's a good idea, actually. Is it stabilizing? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Am I stabilizing? It's starting to stabilize a little bit, right? So this is 1080p. Try 4K. Okay, so if this one works in 4K, it will be ideal. This is 4K right now, actually. And it looks okay. Looks kind of smooth. But it doesn't have the background. Let me get the coffee shop back. Okay. If I can make this one a little bit sharper and I still sync up with the camera, I think this one would be quite ideal. Honestly. If this one looks okay, I can make a Vice videos like this. Like, hey, guys, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is John Elite. I want to make a Vice video. And I want to talk about the importance of social skills and social calibrations, because social skills is how people communicate. And the more you can do the social skills flow drill, the more people can talk more like women, and they can be funneled to your body language. That's very important. Okay, this looks okay. Okay, I'm going to turn it back the other setting, okay? It's going to pause a little bit. Okay, if I don't move as much, right, I won't flicker as much. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. My mouth is moving slower, but still, it looks okay. 4K. I'm going to switch to the other one, okay? It's going to pause. All right, I'll do it now. Let's see, where's the settings? If this works, then I'm going to use one more often. It says enable low resolution. Why would you want to do that? Enable low resolution will restart the... No, I don't want 380p. Come on now. Okay. Now it's getting choppy. Kind of weird. For no reason, it's getting choppy. Video stutter detected. Maybe related to computer performance. The fuck? (1080p). Testing, 1, 2, 3. So maybe if I use a background in the future, I'm going to use 1080p. Then I can just talk like this with a background like this, right? Hey, you go Insta date, right? I know the greatest coffee shop in all of Canada. Come on, let's go. So let me try it. Portrait resolution. It's going to pause for a little bit. Confirm. All right, let's just see what happens. I'm still here. You can hear my voice. Okay, can't find my YouTube live video. Okay. Now it has switched over, and it still looks kind of choppy. It's 1080p, so I think that hopefully, let me just look on the YouTube. Maybe this is a little bit smoother than before. It looks like it's speeding up a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's still catching up. It still lags. But it's not bad for 1080p. Now let's just try this on 4K. Okay, 4K, 30 frames per second. Testing, choppy. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm focusing on YouTube. Do you want a podcast? If you want it, I'm going to upload it and schedule it tonight. I'll spend the whole day doing it. I don't care. If you like the podcast, right, then let's bring back the podcast. I want to focus on one thing. But the problem of focusing on one thing, right? Hey, it's actually decent now. In the past, when I focus on the blog and also the YouTube lives and whatever, right? YouTube videos. Usually when I get around 150 hours of watch time, right? That means YouTube lives, the videos, everything. 150 hours I count. Averagely, I get a new student. This month, however, is different. There's over 150 hours, and I only got like an Elite 60 student, Asian engineer, half Vietnamese, half Chinese. So I'm not sure if this month is tougher, but last year around this time, my Chinese student with 15 lays, 5 models, 5 white girls, the Berlin guy, same day late in Berlin, that guy, and he got married. He actually sent me 2 students. One Chinese guy got laid in New York with one of those Twitch streamer gamer girls in New York. And the other one was that Italian student with 8 lays. The Italian student with 8 lays was actually a friend of the Chinese guy, believe it or not. You're like, what? Really? They're actually friends. So whenever I post their lays or their marriages or whatever, they're always like congratulating each other in the inner circle. So, yeah. I just hope he was a little bit more grateful. But I can understand if he has a Sigma mindset where he cuts people off because whatever, I'm cutting him off too. I just Remove him as administrator of my site. Okay, focus YouTube then. YouTube is worth your time, better ROI probably. Yeah, I think it's a better ROI, but I also think, right? My other theory is that in 2025, I should only focus on the YouTube and YouTube Live. So this camera over here, I should probably keep it. If even though it doesn't sync up perfectly, if I kind of look normal, and even though it's a little bit slow in the leg, I should double down and use this camera because people want to see like a better DSLR like quality. Then let's focus on YouTube. But before 2025, around like they'll update the podcast stuff. That means anyone that's watching the podcast, they'll have all the videos up to date until this point. Why not? I can do it. So I could spend one day do it, maybe a couple hours. Why not? But I'll be focusing on YouTube Live. So let's see. Why do you have the perspective that Daygame is superior to Daygame? Because Daygame is superior to Daygame because it has social skills and emotional control. Daygame uses alcohol, and Daygame is like loud. You can't communicate. The skills are 50 times higher in Daygame than there is Daygame. Daygame is 20 out of 35. ABCs of low self-esteem can only get one student laid for Daygame after 2 years. I mean, Daygame after 2 years. It's so hard for the Asperger engineers. Why did it fucking flip? Let me switch it back. Okay. Something's weird's happening. Make sure. Oh, it's switching to whiteboard mode. Shit. I don't want whiteboard mode. Okay, that's kind of weird. So here's the thing with the camera. If you have a whiteboard, I can put some stickers on it, and then we can switch over to whiteboard, zoom in right on it so we can write on it in the future. But yeah, Daygame is superior because Asians cannot do, like in general, cannot do Daygame for the other coaches and their students. And also, there's no nightclub, there's no loud music, there's no alcohol, and you're not already in a sexualized frame. It definitely is harder. So, and also the women are much hotter for Daygame. For my students, they're banging like women that they cannot get in Daygame. The women are so much fucking hotter. You see the student, whenever you see the results, it exponentially goes up. UFO or UMP company, always like 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10. But however, for my students, they go upwards all the time, like this, a trajectory, until they no longer practice their drills and exercises. And it kind of goes downwards. Does that make sense? And then it'll fail eventually. When it fails, and then it's like, and they'll get married or they just stick with the same fuck buddy. You cannot be a narcissist getting so many lays thinking you're a god and don't practice. If you don't water a tree, it's going to die. The tree will fucking die. But yeah, Daygame is harder. And for the other students who used to swipe on Tinder, right? They used to get women really unattractive below their looks level. Daygame is just like, whatever. Like maybe 6, 7. Daygame is like, you can access the 8s, 9s, and whatever, 10s. Like my other students. So. Some people say prefer to wake up early, go to bed early, so prefer. It really depends, right? Like my Pakistani mentor does Daygame. He doesn't even do Tinder or Daygame. It's just some people who are just born to do Daygame. They just don't like the nightclubs and stuff like that. They don't like. They can do it, but they don't like it. So it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to drink. Not everyone likes loud fucking music all the time. And you can't hear what the other person is saying. So a lot of Asian masculinity, they like Daygame because they can bulk up their bodies like Ninja Turtles. Chap lips. And then they can just stand there with a black t-shirt at the end of the night. They might get an Asian woman interested by standing out. That's black pill game. So that's why Asians love Daygame. So thanks for answering what some critics, the cities you heard or know that have a noticeably higher amount of beautiful women, was in a ban and really disappointed. You have to be disappointed because in Vancouver, a lot of the hotter women that were there before, they kind of left to Toronto and other places because Vancouver is so expensive. There's more opportunities elsewhere. So Vancouver is not Toronto has more attractive women than Vancouver by far. So Toronto is better looking. Europe has good looking women. Most of the United States women are not that good looking. So New York is okay. Sometimes they attract some Europeans and some Latinas, but most of the United States women are not that attractive. California, not that attractive. Yeah. United States and Canada, they have been getting kind of fat and ugly recently. It's just Toronto's a little bit like younger working professionals, I would say. But not that, like, not super attractive women in the North America these days. Just go to Europe if you want that. So John's awesome, but he also answers question while testing camera. Exactly. So John actually saves a lot of people who consume black pill content. Some of these people may have done bad stuff. It didn't find John. A lot of people, we're talking about like, I don't want to say on the air because I don't want it to be like rendering like crazy, but people that were very depressed and thinking about offing themselves, metaphorically speaking. There's a lot of people's lives I've saved. A lot of people that were like that until they get laid and then they want to live again. So that's the truth. But yeah, there's so many people that were thinking about that. And because they get results here, they no longer think about that. So there are some people, yeah, there's definitely some very depressed people. They have like borderline personality disorder. They're borderline. That means they have like extreme mental mood swings and they always feel like that feeling of offing themselves all the time. It's hard to explain, but that's why they call it borderline personality disorder. They have that. Really annoying to deal with because they're always like different in their thinking. I think Johnny Burba, who has offed himself recently, he says is OCD, but I suspect there's a little bit of borderline personality disorder. Probably. Because these people are always thinking about that all the time, 24/7. They don't like it when other people leave them too. So if they're in a relationship, the woman leaves, they have this borderline, they'll go crazy like Amber Heard. They'll start to become a little bit violent. They'll yell. They'll do all sorts of weird shit. Hard to explain, but that's kind of how they're like. So messed up and didn't listen to you. Oh, yeah. That's a good question to ask. I know that you're talking about students who messed up and didn't listen to you, right? Would you ever consider working with some of them again under the? Absolutely not. There was a black student who basically kept running away from all the homework assignments. And he was the worst student of the year. I have to post the best student Italian. He was the worst student of 2022. He came back, right, in 2024, and he reverted back to just ignoring, running away from everything. These bad students are runners. They're delusional. They have delusions. They half-ass everything. They'll lie to you. They're self-deceptive. They always run away from things. It's like, oh, you got approach anxiety, you got to run away from the women. Oh, you don't want to do the mindset playlist? Run away. The runners are the losers. They always quit. You can't help people like that because they're too delusional. And usually they're sociopaths, right? They're usually sociopaths. They have opinions as facts. They're delusional. They kept making crazy decisions like, oh, yeah, I got to stop focusing on John's drills. Let's go back to working out or something. I told him to get a fucking Toto gym. I have a Toto gym here. So, yeah, I have a Toto gym. And let's see, I just have some of the attachments here, but I have a Toto gym right here. I use it quite like often, even though I don't have the best body. But they didn't buy it for $150. So somebody else bought it for like $250. And now they have to go to the gym with a personal trainer. They didn't listen to me. They have ugly proportions. Would I work with a person like that again? Assuming that's not you. They didn't like insult me or anything, but they kept calling me like, oh, John's acting like a bully again. And it's like, no, it's describing you. I tell these people they're self-deceptive. They're running away from the problems. They don't listen. And they don't, even when you call them, they're not even like, it's called in the army insubordination. Insubordination. So for people like that, if you're not following instructions and you don't take kindly to discipline, sometimes you got to discipline them. You know, sometimes I make the students get disciplined. I yell at them if they're off the line. Once they're disciplined, they go back on the line. They don't disobey. But they're really off the line. They'll be yelled at and they'll be treated like really badly. And then in the future, they'll never do it again. Not to scare people off, but in the army, discipline equals freedom. Without discipline, right? I wouldn't get 656 laden poll testimonials. And of course, you got these tall self-proclaimed coaches. They say, oh, I got 1,500 testimonials. No, you don't. Look at how many from pickup. Like less than fucking 40, 50. That's it. Then where's the other 1,500? It's all stuff from YouTube comments. Like every positive comment here, they'll just screenshot it. And that's a testimonial. They have very few night game, very few day game. All Tinder. Tinder is a body count, is not a leg count. So, but about the bad students, right? Yes, let me try to think about who are the worst students, okay? So if they didn't like to have the right perspective, they realize that they're willing to change it. I'll follow everything that John says in this training. You have to do as fast as possible. One thing you want to make sure is not to have any procrastination for more than 2 days. Oh shit, it's switching again. Let's see if I can switch it back. For more than 2 days. So, okay, so this is the 4K background. Now I'm moving faster. But you don't want to ever have more than 2 days of procrastination, because the neural pathways, right? How the brain works is that it takes 21 days to develop a habit. So if you're in the Israeli army, right, learning Krav Maga, Israeli martial arts, they all learn it. It takes exactly 21 days in a row, minimum, to make that into a permanent habit. Does that make sense? It's kind of like planting a seed, watering it, and then the more you water it, the more you practice the drills, right? In front of the camera, drills in front of the camera. Yeah, I should get a whiteboard in the background. So if I do something like this or something like that, it'll go right to the whiteboard. So if I put one here or something, it's just going to snap right to it. So I need to stop doing the hand gestures, right? Like the signal. But for example, it's kind of like planting a seed, germinating the seed, right? The more you practice without having more than 2 days, because it's kind of like if you stop watering and plant for 2 days, right? You might forget. Game is always about, oh, I did it once, therefore I pump my state. Or just because you do something once doesn't mean you get it forever. You might need to continuously do it until your brain installs the skill set. And then eventually, for some people, they sprout at a different time. You'll see some of the things sprouting up. Some people start getting dates. They start getting polls and stuff. That the Jewish white student, it happened very quickly, the lay. He sprouted very quickly. Italian too. After a week or two, they start getting laid because they're coachable. Make sense? They're very coachable. But the other students, they take a long time to sprout because they never actually done it like daily or not missing 2 days. Does that make sense? So the bad students, they never want to practice. The opposite between a good student and bad student is the bad students, they always run away from habits. Because when you have low self-esteem, you have 4 traits. Number 1, the wrong delusions, right? They're delusional. They almost have this demon headache. So whenever you talk to them, they're literally like seeing a different reality. If they play their audio that they send me, right, they cannot hear their mistakes until I play this 27-second audio, right? And it sounds like it's swearing, right? But it snaps at their 4 traits of low self-esteem. I'll play the audio for you. Okay? This 27-second audio.
Backstabber voice. Delusional voice. I want to hear my mistakes. Delusional voice. I want to hear my mistakes. Shut the fuck up!
So when you play that, their head will be like this. Those snap. Because it's almost like they have a parasite or demon living inside them. They're not possessed for some of them. But the voice, right? That one voice that changes what you see and what you hear, right? In your audio mistakes, it will literally change what you see until you play this. And then you hear it again. You're like, oh, I can hear all my mistakes. Yeah, but that's only 30 seconds. So I'll play this entire audio.
Half-assed voice. I don't want to be lazy. I want to do the assignment properly. Shut the fuck up!
So when they hear this part of it, right, the 27-second audio, they usually get lazy. So the more lazy you get, the more you half-ass and run away from the habits. It's because of low self-esteem. Higher ego, low self-esteem. So you're wondering, right? You have to do it 30 days in a row, right? But you have to do it correctly. Elite 30, you don't have my mental filter. That's the difference. Like Elite 60. But you never ever want to not show up. The 55-year-old student always showed up, but he was delusional. Because this is what happened. He did everything I say. He got a 10 out of 10. Meg Fox looking blonde woman. He banged her. But then after his ego went up, his self-esteem went down. Does that make sense? When that happens, when the ego goes up, self-esteem down, the 4 traits happen. So number 1, delusional. Number 2, half-assing it. Number 3, the wrong path to sociopath. Backstabbing.
Backstabber voice. I don't want to listen to your ideas. Shut the fuck up!
So when the students hear this, they always have a backstabbing voice. Like the black student that was kicked out. He's like, oh, I got to work out. I got to do this. He has all these crazy ideas that doesn't work. He always has all these crazy ideas that does not work. But he does it anyways. Switch it back. But he does all these crazy shit. They always invent their own steps. You never want to invent your own training because you don't know how to train. I trained for 5 years in Krav Maga. You're like, that's a long time. I overdid it. But that was my training for the students. I took it as really martial. Like Israel is a very tough country. They're not fucking around, are they? They're not messing around. They're fighting for survival right now with all the Arabs in Iran. So discipline is very important.
My quitter voice. I don't want to quit. Stop talking to me. Shut the fuck up.
A lot of people, they eventually start to quit because they start being delusional. They half-ass it. In the Bible, they talk about lazy people, the fools in the book of Proverbs. You never want to be fucking lazy. Because if you're lazy, right? You know what happens? The more like delusional you get, the more better results you get. Just like my Jewish white student. He banged like a Latina afterwards. He was not practicing the drills. He ego tripped and then he went all lazy and shit. He started disappearing. Start quitting, taking breaks. I have another Indian, like Sri Lankan student. I told him in the elite Daygame First Steps WhatsApp group. I said, you lied to me saying in 3 weeks you're going to start practicing. He's always broing me. Bro, I'm going to be there in 3 weeks, bro. 3 weeks, bro. It didn't happen. It was bullshit. He lied through his fucking teeth. He lied through his fucking teeth. So he's the runner. The other bad students I see, right, are all fat. All the fat people are delusional. I'll tell you why they're delusional. Okay? I made a video criticizing fat people, and I got a lot of people pissed off at me. Like, John's too mean. There's 100% quitting rate with fat people. Even a 55-year-old student, after he got his 10 out of 10, he's taking a big break right now. They always quit. Fat people have no emotional control. They can't control what goes into their fucking mouth. Number one. I got chubby and I lost the weight. I can control myself. They can't. They have no fucking emotional control. Number two, they're all sociopaths. All the fat people, they're delusional. Number three, they're all ADHD. It's not just the fat, bad genes. They're all ADHD because they never finish a task, because they're lazy, they're half-assing, they're always quitters. So therefore, they can never get self-esteem. They're always in massive debt. Fat people should not day game during the 2024 and 2025 inflation. They should fuck off the field. You have no chance if you're fat. That's the truth. I hate to say it, but fat people have no chance. They're mentally disabled during inflation because of the winner and loser effect. The more you win, the more testosterone you get, the more aggressive, the more risks you take. The more you lose, the more you run away, right? That's why they have cortisol. That's why they look all chubby and shit. Does that make sense? They look chubby as fuck because of the loser effect. So if you were to, like, you have two mice, right? You put them in a tunnel for experiment, like a tube, like a toilet paper roll, and you push one of them through, right? And they won the fight. If you push that one through and the other one falls out, in the future, the one that lost, right, is going to be less aggressive and have more cortisol, believe it or not. The system will punish you with cortisol. This is why fat people are losers. The winner is going to be more aggressive. He's going to have more testosterone. He wants to fight. He's going to more likely win the next battle. Same with tigers and lions. If a lion wins a fight, there's more chance he's going to win the very next fight. Does that make sense? So the winner and loser effect. So if you're asking me what are bad students, Oh, the ones who are full of cortisol, like if they're full of stress hormone and they're chubby, I know there's something wrong with them. I know they're gonna quit, and they have low self-esteem. So that's another trait you can look for, is the runner. They run away from, they're delusional. They always run away from hard work, finishing the task. They'll procrastinate for weeks. Indians, for example, benchoed Indians, the ones who are skinny fat, because of the Asperger syndrome in the last video I made. The guys with the pot bellies, right? They always have a pot belly. Indians will always run away. They disappear for 2 or 3 weeks all the time. Even if they're skinny, they always have loose skin, pot belly. Indians are runners during a 2024 inflation. It is only the super engineer Indian with less ADHD that's making more money. The rest of them who cannot afford boot camps, they're benchoing during 2024. They're running away. They're always having some mental issues. ADHD. Because with ADHD, you finish a task. If you can't finish a task, guess what happens? Then it's like an emotional bank account. If you finish a task, right? Then it's kind of like you deposit. This is a piggy bank, right? So this is the box. Whatever. You deposit more into the piggy bank. Does that make sense? Your emotional bank account. You get self-esteem and you become less delusional. You can do more. But Indians, however, never finish a task, ever. You try to get Indian to finish a task, they'll disappear for 3 weeks. Next task. Great task, John. They'll open their mouth with cortisol. They'll be like this. Their eyes will look like this. They'll look like they're... And then they'll disappear. After 3 weeks, they come back. They've benchoed it away. They have super ADHD. So ADHD is very bad. You need to supplement away the ADHD. Because if you don't fix the ADHD and you can't finish a task, that's why Indians always say one thing and do the other. Does that make sense? For example, yeah, I just came here with chap lips, so hopefully it's not like terrible. But I have a chapstick somewhere. But this is why Indians, right, are going to struggle 2024, 2025. Because Indians, they never complete a task. They can never get self-esteem. They only fill themselves full of like fucking skinny fat. The loser effect. That's all Indians can do. Unless they can afford bench hole camps, then they'll worship a white dating coach boot camp or they'll worship their own race. And then they'll come to me last after they're brainwashed by the other two. And they're all fucked. They're all bench holding. Indians, they just cannot stop eating vegetarian food. So why do they do that thing? Because they look at my student-led testimonials, right? Nonstop. Literally nonstop. And they want to be just like them. But my millionaire student, the Chinese guy, right? He's no longer responding to me after I posted the marriage video of his wife. He's like, oh, don't post my wife. Well, maybe don't fucking don't post your wife. Are you kidding me? How the fuck are people supposed to know? Maybe he's trying to act like a Sigma where he distanced himself from you. Let me remove him from the Opus clips for the YouTube shorts right now after this call. He can keep all his courses and stuff that he made for marketing. I think he's a public figure. But not famous. Nobody found out about his wife. But the fact you can ignore me and treat me like this and ghost me like I did something wrong. All the other students, even though the other Chinese student should be posting about his wife, as he claims he's going to do. He sent me pictures of his wife for the marriage, which is good. I can make it, the USA is super easy for my students. But when he just ghosts me like that, like what the fuck? Because I posted his wife? Are you kidding me? Who got you that wife? Who got you 15 likes? Who the fuck got you 15 likes from Daygame when you can only get one? Me. This is ungrateful. Chinese are very ungrateful. So, about white plausibility, yeah. Because I still want to answer your other question about why they pay and they don't do anything. Like a black student, he's only paying like $200 like every week, and he stopped paying for some reason because this is what they call level 1. I used to call them like sewer or something. I don't want to say because it pissed people off. If they're level 1, right, they can only afford a little bit of money. They always deflect blame. They never take full responsibility, like extreme ownership. the best thing you can do is, even though inflation has been kind of tough, I'm taking responsibility. I'm going to show up on YouTube Live more. I'm going to show up. Camera, I'm going to fucking show up. Guess what? I don't care. I'm going to show up. Oh, but business is hard this month because people are spending on Christmas. I'm going to fucking show up. I don't care. Tomorrow, I'm going to post like 8 lays for the Italian student. I'm going to show up. I'll take responsibility. I'm not going to blame the fucking inflation. Sure, it exists. And all the other people from the global game networks, they're making record amount of money just by fake authority. But the students who pay for it is because the Chinese student, the millionaire guy, taught me this. I asked him, how do you become a millionaire, right? I'm in the multi-6-figure range in my bank account. I'm not like a millionaire. So, but I was curious. So he said to me, John, when he started having the habits of the millionaires, everything, he transformed to all the habits. Then all of a sudden, $1 million shows up in his bank account. But that's important because when you look at all the students getting laid in my coaching, it's exactly the same as the concept. They had all the habits of a natural after it's drilled down. And then the pussy starts to show up in their life, the white girls who are super fucking hot. Because they had the right habits. They transformed through habits like an army, and the pussy just falls out of the fucking sky. They get laid in 1 to 6 approaches. So you're saying, oh, if that's the case, right? They transform these good students. What about the fucking zombies with low self-esteem? They did not transform. They cannot wait to not transform. They can't wait to run away from the training. They can't wait to just not do the mindset playlist. They love to procrastinate. They love to lose. They love to get double chinned. They love that. They just cannot wait to lose. They're losers. And every time they lose, they get fat. It's like it's like a scorecard. Hope that makes sense. So to answer that question, that's why they pay, but they want the results, but they don't want to put in the work to transform. That's the answer. Next one. I know today I just want to test the camera, right? See if it works. But this is turning into a really cool question and answer, right? I should change the title, question and answer. Okay. Why does your training revolve around going to Insta dates and Insta late, right? I heard from some fruity faggot, not to discriminate, moving too fast can trigger her ASD. So who cares about this Caleb Jones person? Not to discriminate against anyone. I'm just calling him that. So for him, okay, I have nothing against gay people. I'm just saying, why would you listen to a white person say, Caleb, fuck him? How many lay testimonials does he have? There's your answer. I have 656. Success leaves clues. Why does he have authority? Is he a white guy? A white plausibility? The other guy asked me about white plausibility, right? Did his white plausibility brainwash you? Why do I care what he thinks? Caleb can kiss my ass. And white cousin, exactly. So, white plausibility, exactly. So, for that guy, right? He says, oh, it triggers ASD. What the fuck are you talking about, ASD? Anti-slut defense? My students, okay, let me tell you the truth. Here's the answer, right? Here's the great question and answer, Q&A, that you want to know. Give a thumbs up if you're learning something. Here's the big secret. That's a great question, okay? I know you took it. Okay, here's the answer, okay? ASD. My students do not experience any sort of like rejections. They get laid in 1 to 6 approaches. So they still get rejected 5 times. They get laid in 6, or they get laid in 3 approaches when they leveled up. So that's number 1. Number 2, the women do not flake. You're like, what do you mean they don't flake? Because they have the perfect body language of a natural, social skills flow drill, whitewash tonality. So the biggest secret, how it's like, do you remember the DVD players of the past where you can burn like a DVD disc, right? And it burns it into the machine. It has a pattern, right? I'm going to answer your question. So women is the same way. They can emotionally calculate your 20 out of 35, looks out of 10, money out of 5, status out of 10. Social skill, social calibrations, emotional control game, right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So they're calculating and they're burning the DVD. Does that make sense? All the time. So when you have the interaction, because my students have so many points, right? When they're burning the DVD, okay? Blu-ray, whatever you want to call it. When they're burning the disc and transcribing it, they're not hunching like all the other guys squaring off, building, like, they're freaking her out. If they're squaring off, then they're putting pressure on her. Number two, they're talking fast. They're putting more cortisol pressure, like you have bad genes, the loser effect, like how all the other white dating coaches talk. Number three, they get flaky phone numbers. My students, the women do not flake at all when they're leveled up. They don't understand what flaking is. In my company, Johnny Lee Dating, flake does not even exist. Number four, they don't get shit test. Shit test is when you're incongruent and the points are low. Number five, they don't experience like bedroom resistance or anti-slut defense or, like all that other stuff. In the bedroom, whenever they give a resistance and they mystery try to call it something, I forgot the name of it, but bedroom resistance, they don't experience that because they use the arrow science. Maneuver, sexualized objections looping. Maneuver all the way home, flirt in between when she talks more. You're still burning the DVD. You sexualize it to the maximum where she can only give you sexual objections. They loop it until you get over them. She might give you 3 if you're Asian. You overcome those 3 objections, you automatically get your dick wet with a white girl. That's the arrow science. So the reason why you experience ASD and all this other shit, because they don't flirt. White people don't flirt. White people love to build attraction and self-amuse and be cocky funny. They don't know how to flirt in between when she talks more. They don't have a good body language. They don't just square off, right? Oh, it's more manly, as they say. It's more fuck you for tall self-proclaimed coaches. And number 2, that's why my students stand 45. So that way, they never put the pressure on her. Oh, it's not as manly. And number 3, when you do a same-day lay, right, it's faster. Would you rather same-day lay, like a high-ticket sales? Like those guys, those marketers, high-ticket sales. You want to close it there and then? Or do you want to, like, fuck it up halfway through the sales call and then retarget the person over and over, just like the women? You fuck up during the interaction. You burn like a bad DVD. She remembers it. That's why she flakes. That's why she has ASD, because you have no fucking value. It's not that they have anti-slut defense. You have to shatter it with the sexualizing to the maximum, not like half-assed like UMP, like nonstop, like half sexualization. Like, oh, do you like it when your friends pull your hair? Yes. Do you like it when a guy does it? Haha. Like, these stupid half-assed sexualization does not work. It puts you off the line. So the reason why you get ASD, shit test, flaky phone numbers, all these symptoms, right? It's better to close it right when you open. It's way better for doing same-day lays. You don't want to just come back and retarget and text for 4 weeks. Fuck that. It's not that my students even get flakes. You can see that even women comes out even when they go on a date because they don't get flakes. But if you game them with a same-day lay mentality, with perfect body language, the arrow science, you don't have to deal with flaky phone numbers. And if you got a phone number, it should come out. Like my Pakistani mentor, the women. It's that simple. There's no ASD. Because it's a man-to-woman interaction. She's not worried because the value's there. They're dressed whitewashed. I'm not dressed whitewashed today. I'm just testing a video. I just grab whatever blazer that has a little bit of color so that way I can see if it looks good. But that's the secret, because they're whitewashed, they're husband material fashion, not that you understand it. So there's no reason to do it any other way. If you're dressed husband material, you have like a nice watch, you have a nice blazer, you have a nice dress shirt, you have the nice pants, exactly like my students. They all wear the same shit. You automatically get laid in 1 to 6 approaches. If you level up your skills, you just collect the lay. You collect it. There's no fucking ASD. I mean, how the fuck could a Jewish white student, how the fuck could he get like 17 fucking lays in 1 year? There's no such thing as ASD. Italian student, all 1 to 6 approaches. The Chinese student, 15 lays, all 1 to 6 approaches. No such thing as ASD. No such thing as shit test. No such thing as a fucking funky phone number. It's all bullshit. It's a game of conversions. 20 out of 35, automatically she opens her legs. Next question. Yes, we deserve better because we're doing that's what. Yeah, exactly. I work for Jesus. You don't have to worship me. Worship Jesus. The reason why I told another student that Jesus is using me to help other people is because Jesus told me that if a person dies, they have a life review, right? When they have their life review, they realize they don't have their autism anymore, their Asperger's, their engineer, or their lack of empathy. And they feel everything and they feel bad about it. They finally feel remorse. But they've been robbed from the opportunity to procreate, to get married. I'm basically giving these autistic Asians, Indians, and all these minorities another chance so they can procreate one day. Because God wants the tree of life to grow. These days with wokeism, as he's mentioning, and all this other anti-God stuff is actually destroying the tree of life. Does that make sense? So they want the tree of life to grow, not to shrink. So it's important. Jesus, God, up there, right? You worship Jesus. Do not worship me. All the miracles, all this stuff, is not because occult abilities or psychic abilities or manifestation. No, is God mixed with manifestation. Not so much about like, I'm not a cult. It's not like any sort of weird, you don't have to worship me. Next question. Let's go by one. It's kind of like a muscle memory. It's like a neural pathway memory because women are emotional, right? Women see things, number one, relative SMV. They'll look at the height. They always look up and down at you for, does that make sense? Women are just like this. And they open their mouth. They want to see if you're friend or foe. They want to see how tall you are. They look at your skin color. They roughly know what race. Your face is the last thing for all the black pill people out there. They don't give a fuck about your face. They're not lesbians. They're not lesbians. They look at all the other stuff, the symbolism. So they look at relative SMV. That's the truth. 20 out of 35. They always think about 20 out of 35 constantly. So if you're burning the DVD wrong, you start hunching all the time and you squaring off, you're burning the DVD wrong. You're moving your points down to like 0.2, not 2.5. Does that make sense? You're talking super fast like this, right? Like a lot of the students, like the zombies, you're making her feel very nervous. So you're burning the DVD wrong. You're kind of botching the DVD. Get it? So the score goes down. Makes sense? You have to burn it correctly. They etch everything because they're emotional. Women have more like, number one, relative value. Number two, emotional reasoning. They're very emotional. They're like woke people, right? Like the woke leftists. They're irrational. And number three is the logic, is irrational. They're almost like woke people. Almost like the woke men. They think of relative SMV all the time, like race, this, that. Then they think about emotional reasoning. And then lastly, logic. There's no logic. Women, the only time they're logical is when you pull them back home, you sexualized it, they give you a logical objection you deal with. And then once you deal with that, you just to open their legs. Very rarely are women logical, except that when you try to go for instant date, they don't walk with you. You fucked up earlier on. They only get logical at very like small opportunities. Hope that makes sense. Very few times, not very often. So it's very important because they're emotionally etching because she remembers the emotion. She doesn't remember the words that you say. She doesn't remember the words. So even if the hybrid opener sounds kind of weird, excuse me real quick. I have a question. I was looking for a place called Zara. Do you know where I can find it? And the next part, right? Sounds stupid. Oh, by the way, I just noticed something about you. She's like, what? I just noticed that you have red hair and you have freckles. Are you Irish? Oh my God, I am a little bit Irish and British. Hey, I know that it's really random that we're talking, and what's the thing? I swear I'm not a K-pop artist, but I just want to socialize. Oh, it's okay. Disarmed, right? Get it? Disarmed. But the whole, oh, by the way, I just noticed something. It sounds stupid, but she can't remember that shit because she's emotionally reasoning looking at your relative SMV. Does that make sense? Women have no idea. They can't remember that shit. But when you text them over the phone, they remember the whole DVD that's being etched, the emotions. And if you have the wrong body language and you don't make them feel good by hunching and squaring off, like tall self-proclaimed coaches, when they call it manly, it becomes a numbers game. you're talking fast. So it's all about the etching of the DVD. If that makes sense. So good Q&A. That's good. Muscle memory. Last minute resistance. Yeah, that's last minute resistance. Since I forgot that term because my students do not experience last minute resistance. The reason why other dating coaches have to wrestle with women and get them drunk, right? They have these boot camp documentaries. They have they take one student late, they make 10 documentaries out of it. Now people think there's 10 extra videos in their playlist. They must be good. If they have 80 videos or 90 videos, you divide it by 10. Now you got 9 students or 8 students late. Old stuff from 2019. They always use the alcohol in the bedroom. So they tell the students on the sales call, hey, ring, ring, ring. Hey, are you willing to celebrate after the boot camp? We can have a drink afterwards or something like that. Yeah, sure. Why not, right? Now they get the students to buy alcohol. They put it into the fucking bedroom. And then when they pull women home, they say, use your alcohol and escalate super hard, but keep it below the level of grape. Keep it below the level of grape, but escalate super hard. And when the students get laid, they're like, yes. And then from there, that's why their game does not have 2024 and 2023 late testimonials, because the whole alcohol thing with the objections that women has, because right now the inflation is affecting their survival value. So they give more objections. In the logical side, they can't overcome it. So therefore, mass approach numbers game is debunked. Hope that makes sense. So last minute resistance. What kind of coaching offers do you have at the moment? I visit your site, but it's a bit confusing. I have some money to invest, but I like a course. Right now, the main offering I will recommend to you, unless you're an engineer. If you're not engineer, engineers go to Elite 60. But if you're not engineer, get Elite Bundle 2. This one has Elite 30, Elite Playbook. I should change the site right now, right? Main offering. It has Elite Access for 1 year, but now it's 1.5 years temporarily. You get 10 minutes of my time asking questions to critique your infield just for a few seconds, your homework assignments, and you have 11 Skypes instead of 10. But if you're an engineer, this is not going to work. I mean, it will work, but depends. If you're 2 Asperger's, right, you're super engineer, you're going to think differently. You need more help. But if you're somewhere in between, your logical job, but you have a lot of grit, but you're not super engineer, like super Asperger's, you're just a little bit Asperger's, like my other 2 students, Elite Bundle 2 is the main offering. I would go for that one. $900 is super cheap compared to $8,600 10-day bench camp, boot camp. Way cheaper, but it gets more people late. However, if you're an engineer, take Elite 60, $2,000. So it depends on your occupation. If you're not engineer, don't take Elite 60. If you're not engineer, but you have grit, but if you don't do what I say and you procrastinate during Elite Bundle 2, when you could take Elite 60, then you're fucked. Elite 60 has more accountability. So let's see. Do you think age gap is a problem? No, because once you reach 20 or 35, it doesn't matter about the age gap. Look at my 55-year-old student. He banged a 21-year-old, 25 and 21 in one approach during the Kaizen program, the second time he took it. So there's no such thing as age gap. It's a value gap. When you have a bigger age difference, you just need good social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, whitewash fashion, and, just husband material. All women in general wants to get married one day. So even if they're younger, they're like 18, 19, whatever, they still want to get married one day. They all want to get married. So if you're husband material, you're forgiven for the age gap because you have more value than just banging. You can get on Tinder. So therefore, if you're husband material, they want to get married one day, they have an opportunity. They'll forgive anything. So they don't give a fuck about your age gap. If you try to dress like a fuckboy and you dress like a friend zone and you have a shit fashion, of course they care. But if you have a perfect fashion, you have perfect social skills, and the other student in Kaizen, I'm not teaching Kaizen as much now because the inflation, people cannot focus, the winner and loser effect. But during Kaizen at the time, it was so rough. He had to pinch his nipples every time he fucked up. He wanted that. He wanted to get laid no matter what with a 20-year-old. That's what I was tasked with. I got him 3 of them, 21, 25, 21. So, yeah, age gap does not matter at all. But if you look like an old fart and you dress old fashioned, you're kind of like, the guy was fat, 55 years old. He bangs like a 40-year-old Megan Fox looking woman recently in 2024 when he rejoined my coaching for elite access and the lifetime membership of the inner circle for the 55-year-old student. She wasn't a 21-year-old like before. But even with minimal training, he still remembered. He got 0 results with white dating coaches before, paying double. He spent like 3 years with a white dating coach, only got like a laid from Tinder once. Fucking bullshit. White people have no idea what they're talking about. But there's no like age gap. If you're husband material, they don't give a fuck about your age gap at all. But if you're not husband material, you dress like a scrub, right? Like you're chuggy in your fashion, and for your drip, as they call it for Gen Z. If you have shit fashion, then of course it fucking matters. You dress like a bum. Why the fuck would they want that? Shitty fucking hunching body language, shitty fucking fast speech, direct game. They don't want that shit. But your husband material, hybrid opener, whitewash, husband material, perfect skills, 20 out of 35, doesn't matter. They're hardwired for evolutionary psychology. Women still respond the same way. I had a student who was much older. He started dressing in Zara clothing and he was wearing makeup to reduce his wrinkles. You can't see it. Women respond to him younger because of the fashion. So it's not that. It's the whitewash fashion in the husband material fashion. So there's no such thing as age gap. You change any of my algorithms, you'll be destroyed. When you look at my Pakistani mentor, that guy's almost like 50 now. He's older. But he's banging like 10 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s now for girlfriends. Now you have all these other coaches getting older with their game shit and just they're paying for women to hang out in the background in a DSLR to give advice videos. Fuck that. But my Pakistani mentor, he's older, but he's getting women that are hotter. It doesn't matter if they're much younger than him. He's even banging 23-year-olds now. He's like nearly 50. They don't give a fuck. All those skills, right? Relative SMV, like I said. Emotional reasoning, etching that into the DVD. Make sense? Let's see. Next question. We're just going to go one by one. This became a Q&A. So, will you say you have like some major changes in your game and approaches over time? Yeah. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of changes in the game. Every year is different. So when you learn from like a couple years ago, like the 55-year-old student, it's not the same game that he learned right now. He still got a 10 out of 10, but she's a little bit older. She's 40 years old. She looks like a blonde Megan Fox. So the body language is the same. Social skills flow drill is the same. But the hybrid opener has changed over time. When COVID happened, I had to change the opener. In the past, they didn't have to use the arrow science. They could just etch the body language in the social skills flow drill. They get laid. They just have to get over that line. But due to the inflation, people have been losing their emotions. So their emotional points go down. So then they have to start changing to whitewash tonality of the naturals, like my Pakistani mentor. That was a change. The other change was like, besides whitewash, is that they start taking supplements to have more emotional control. So more relaxed, more chill. And they switch over to more of the maneuver, sexualizing to the maximum, and objections looping. In the past, that was not necessary. The arrow will penetrate as long as they have enough social skills, social calibrations, short arrow, dull. But because in the arrow science, maneuver, sexualize, objections looping, the arrow tip, that penetrates better. But you still need to drill down the social skills, social calibrations, emotional control to make the arrow longer. The whitewash fashion is the feather, also the V-shaped body. That makes it fly better. But you also need to get your money under control so you're not in survival mode. Because if you're trying to aim the arrow, right, during the 2024 inflation, look what happens. It's shaky, right? Boom, you always miss. So my students, because they supplemented, they learn how to budget their money. Now the arrow is still. Arrow science, they needed more points. That was the big change. I hope that makes sense. That's why we have to add more points every year. But it'll never go beyond 20 out of 35. So whatever is being, like 2024 is the hardest year of all time. I'm the only dating coach for Daygame that gets students laid consistently. Only one coach in the whole world. Show me a second coach. You can't. You're just posting old shit, or you got one luckily. You can't do it consistently month after month. So, but because they have to learn a lot more skills now, it's more skill maxing, neural pathway maxing, transformation maxing. But it never will go beyond 20 out of 35, ever. It doesn't matter how much, oh, she's like a modern woman now, we should just go to third world countries. And no matter how much she's like that, she always responds to husband material, always responds to the social skills flow drill, always responds to the body language, the whitewash tonality. It never changes. It's human psychology. It has been like this for the last thousands of years. Even caveman days. Social skills always mattered in the tribe. Body language of an alpha male. Whitewash tonality. And also, game is like more of a construct in 2021 when the PUAs, the autistic fucking Asperger's, start trying to gamify things. But they had the other three. Hope that makes sense. People were not always like giving direct compliments. They're very indirect, hanging out. Eventually, they'll fall in love and then they'll have sex. More natural. Nobody goes direct. That's all made up by simple pickup and all this other London Daygame and all this other shit. Back then, RSD. It's all made up bullshit. So, next question. Yes, I can see for a site Kaizen's update. Yeah, the price is now switched to $2,600. I'm not going to do it for a penny less. It should be $3,700. That's what I'm comfortable with. But that's what I'm leaving as. Most people cannot join that unless you're part of... No, the reason why I don't let most people join Kaizen is because Kaizen has a 100% success rate. Everyone that completed, not everyone completed it, but everyone who has completed it has gotten laid. Every single one. I'm not going to tarnish the 100% success rate over like some zombie that wants to say, oh, it's faster. Well, you can't even last 1 week. Most people that are zombies, right? The bad students, runners in Kaizen, they won't even last 1 fucking week. It's like the fucking Navy SEALs. Hell week. It's so fucking hard that in 1 week, they'll be crying and running away and blocking me. That's how tough. But if you make it past it, because you're a fucking psychopath, and like the 55-year-old student, if you have no you have grit, right? You can take a punch. You don't care about rejections. You're not like butthurt easily by rejections. You don't have it. Those people will conquer. It's only for a select few. We're talking about complete, like ruthless people, gritty people. Not for the people during inflation, the zombies. Zombies should take Elite 60. No offense to the word zombies, but Elite 60 is more casual compared to before, like a reserve unit. I hope that makes sense. Kaizen is way too fucking hardcore. That's why I only let people take it if they complete Elite 60 from 3 months of proficiency program that has every course in one. 3 months of proficiency, right, is cheaper than a 10-day boot camp. For $8,600 is cheaper. But people don't want to pay for like during inflation. The amount is cheaper, way cheaper, but more expensive than Kaizen or Elite 60 by far. So that course, once they complete Elite 60, then they can take Kaizen these days. But you cannot access Kaizen. I leave the sales letter up there. But I'm sure as hell not going to let people take Kaizen. You're not going to fuck up my 100% success rate. We'll do something similar in Elite 60. It'll be more of emotional intelligence, different. It has mental trauma cure in the beginning. I'll be teaching you how to switch your emotions. For example, like if I want to switch to more caring tonality, right? I can switch to it anytime because the external brain that I created from Elite 60, right? If I want to be more of a happy, fun, carefree, positive vibe and game the audience, right? Kind of like right now, and switch my tonalities where I sound very positive, right? I can switch it at will because of Elite 60, right? Some of the secrets for my infields, I can switch the emotions because I know how to do all this stuff. And then if I want to tease, right? I can do it anytime I want. My tonality be like that. I'll feel like, like a troll. And then for example, if I wanted to flirt, right? I can do it at any time in my tonality. So that's Elite 60, right? Learning, because some people don't have emotions. They're around like, it's better for people that are a little bit taller. They're like 5'10", 5'11". They have more SMV, but they cannot handle Kaizen. They need more emotional intelligence. Elite 60 is perfect for you. It's designed for someone like that. You have medium SMV. You're not like dog shit SMV. Kaizen is more for the lower SMV guys because lower SMV people have more to lose. They have nothing to lose. I mean, they have such dog shit SMV, they cannot blame it. If you're tall and you're good looking, you take Kaizen in 1 week, you realize that the shorter students are kicking your ass. Oh, you're gonna feel like you're gonna bench hold. You're gonna lose your fucking mind. So yeah, next question. Always upgrade the course later. Yeah, if you want to upgrade to 3 months of proficiency, why not? Right? We just pay the difference. No problem. Shit. All the muscles are cramping up. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Okay. I'll just power on through it. Who gives a shit? All right. Do you see do you think that your Chinese student did well in Berlin because he's a public? No, it has nothing to do with it. She had no idea. It's the very first approach that he made. So if it's the first approach, she has no idea that he didn't use Instagram, nothing like that. It's just same day late. He used aero science. So around that time period, we switched the game over to more aero science. He was the first one doing it more often. The other students were doing more of the body language stuff in Kaizen. Are you over-the-counter supplements for ADHD, or everyone require prescription medication? That's a good question. It's all over-the-counter. I know exactly what to take. It's stuff you can buy from Amazon. It's not like, I don't teach this to the public here, but there are supplements that can help with ADHD for sure. Hopefully the lips are not too chapped. I just did this last minute. Yeah. But it's all over the counter. But it's not over the counter. It's all on Amazon. You cannot find it over the counter. Let's see. All right. Then we should talk about Elite 60, Elite Bundle 2 to prove ourselves before we think about Kaizen. I would, for you, if you're engineer, start with Elite 60. Don't even bother with Elite Bundle 2. You get your ass kicked. There's not enough accountability. You get fucking smoked. This is the inflation. If you're like not an engineer, but you have a logical job and you have a lot of grit, then yeah. But Elite Bundle 2, you probably won't even last. Like you just procrastinate like crazy. Why should people why would people not complete it? I'm sure there are people who followed it, but maybe their setup isn't right or the personal life don't allow. Yeah, because if you have mental trauma, you should take Elite 60. It has mental trauma cure. You won't even last like very long in Elite Bundle 2. But the other question, right? Why did you not complete it? So we talked about the self-esteem, right? So let me just move this down a little bit. We talked about the bad students, right? The 4 traits of low self-esteem. Number 1, delusional. They're very delusional. So whenever you tell them something, they'll shoot down all your ideas. One of my worst students who's Latino, every single thing I tell him, get this hairstyle, do this, it'll be shot down like an Iron Dome, right? Missile comes, idea, shoots it down. Next one, shoots it down. Everything is shot down, number 1. Same with the bad black student. Number 2, they're half-assing it. Whenever you tell them to send you like 20 videos of drills, you correct their body language, you draw on it, you know what they'll do? After like 5 videos, they'll go take a nap because they're sweating, because the cortisol, the loser effect. It's not that they're running away. Then they say, I'll do it tomorrow. They'll take a nap. They're completely drenched in sweat. What the fuck? So that's number 2. They're half-assing it. And then they'll show up within like a few days like afterwards. I had one Latino student who still got laid in a Latin country going direct, but he wanted to get hotter women. But he was sweating after like 3 or 4 takes. And then afterwards, his mindset playlist, for example. Okay. I make a student go through a 26 video mindset playlist. I had one student who's from Australia, kind of chubby. He's a nice guy, by the way. He's like nicest guy I know. Good heart, everything, but he was clueless. He didn't do the homework assignment properly. He just kept wasting time, like another 2 months. Another guy for Kaizen, he wasted like fucking, it took him a month. He didn't even finish it. If he didn't finish the mindset playlist in 1 month, and people can get it done in 1 day, right? Like the 55-year-old student, he got done in 1 day, and then he got laid right away. But when you take a month to do something because you cannot focus with ADHD, your mindsets are bad. These people, there's 5 traits of mindsets. Number 1 is how teachable are you? These guys, their teachability is zero. They'll shoot down everything you say. They can't even remember it because they have ADHD and they're mentally blinking. Their brain will shut down over and over. Does that make sense? As soon as you say something like, okay, I want you to make a video, or I want you to make a playlist on Google Drive, the brain shuts down. They don't even hear Google Drive. And I want you to make 26 videos, all the titles, the brain shuts down again. And when you make the 26 videos, I want you to put 10 takeaways. They don't even hear takeaways, just 10 things. They copy it word for word. Not copy it, blinks again. You see that? You have to tell them twice. They're mentally blinking. They're physically, their brain is shutting down. It's kind of like I have a shutter over here on the side of the webcam. I can turn off the thing. I never tried it before. I'm not sure if it'll shut down the video or not, but I'm not going to do it right now. But it's like their brain's like a shutter. So physically, they cannot get the information. They're never teachable. So they cannot be changeable because they're not teachable. They're like 0 or 0.5. They get all the instructions wrong, like a zombie. So when it's time to changeable, right? They don't change very quickly. My Jewish white student, he always fucks it up 2 times. 3rd time, he always gets it right before. Italian student, 4 times, he gets it right. Chinese student, he fucks it up using the white dating coaches UMP style, or self-proclaimed high leg count guy. He fucks it up, like really fucks it all up. And he realizes white people stuff doesn't work. He wants it to work. He does it my way, and he shoots down the idea. No, I don't think it's like that. It doesn't make any sense. Right? Let's turn it back. He said, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And then he does it, and he gets laid. And it's like, fuck, two approaches, now lay. Yeah. 3 approaches, 1 lay. 1 approach, 1 lay. Oh, but you shoot down the idea. John, you can't get laid in 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Yes, you can. He fucking does it. He puts her in the back of his rented motorcycle. He fucking gets laid in fucking 1 approach, like less than 5 minutes. I told you. Oh, but mystery said, oh, fuck mystery. And then you tell him something else. No, but UMP or whatever it says, you got to sexualize it. If you don't sexualize it, how would they get sexualized? No, you fucking flirt instead. I'll teach you how to flirt. And he starts flirting, gets laid with his first white girl. You get it? That's the secret. So they can't follow it. But some people can change. So teachability, number 1. 2 is changeability. Number 3 is the skills. That means skill is all a 10. In order for you to get better with skills, you can't do it by yourself. You can't see your mistakes. You need me there to be disciplined. So for skills, it's like you go from unconscious incompetence like a zombie. That's why I make the students, whenever I give them advice, I make them write down all the mistakes that they made that I tell them for the critiques. I just told one student who's a zombie, and he wrote it all down. And we counted how many times did he make the same mistakes. Does that make sense? We counted. So I put it into a list here. And on the list over here, I wrote it all down. See? Can't really see it, but fuck. So number 1, tilting your head 6 times is wrong. Number 2, tilting your body awkwardly 6 times. Looking down too much before the first come on, like he's walking and talking for in-state 6 times. Not maintaining 45-degree angle 5 times. Walking too fast, shuffling 5 times. Looking back too much on. It's the same move that's making mistakes. Speaking too fast 4 times. Pausing too much 4 times. Overthink. You see that? Everything is documented. So for them, because they're not teachable and changeable, they repeat the same mistakes because they're delusional. So you have to go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. That's why that 27-second audio exists for that student. If they don't play the 27-second audio, they cannot hear their own mistakes. Over here.
Delusional voice. I want to hear my mistakes. Shut the fuck up! Half-assed voice. I don't want to be lazy. I want to do the assignment properly. Shut the fuck up! Backstabber voice. I don't want to listen to your ideas. Shut the fuck up! Last one. Quitter voice. I don't want to quit. Stop talking to me. Shut the fuck up!
Once he listened to that and is yelling, the brain will snap. And for 30 seconds, they